December 2002, Modesto, California. For 27-year-old Laci Peterson and her husband, Scott, life seemed perfect. They were young, in love, and just weeks away from welcoming their first child, a son they planned to name Connor. Their future looked as bright and promising as the Christmas lights that decorated their home. But this picture-perfect life was about to be shattered in the most brutal way imaginable. On the morning of December 24th, Christmas Eve, Laci Peterson disappeared. Scott Peterson told police that he last saw his wife as she was getting ready to walk their dog in a nearby park. He said he was leaving to go on a solo fishing trip 90 miles away at the Berkeley Marina. A massive search was launched. Family, friends, and strangers all came together, desperate to find Laci. The story of the missing pregnant woman captivated the nation, and the media descended on Modesto. In the middle of it all was Scott Peterson, playing the role of the grieving husband. But as the days turned into weeks with no sign of Laci, suspicion began to fall on the one person who should have been protecting her husband. Investigators started digging into Scott Peterson's life, and the perfect image he had presented to the world began to crumble. They discovered that on the day Laci disappeared, Scott wasn't just on a casual fishing trip. He had purchased a boat just weeks earlier, and his internet searches showed he was researching the currents of the San Francisco Bay. Then came the bombshell. A woman named Frey came forward. A single mother and massage therapist, she told police a shocking story. She had been having an affair with Scott Peterson. Scott had told Amber he was a widower, that he had lost his wife. This was weeks before Laci even went missing. The lie was chilling. At the request of the police, Frey agreed to record her phone calls with Scott. While the nation was searching for his pregnant wife, Scott was on the phone with his mistress, pretending to be in Paris. For months after Laci's disappearance, the search came to a tragic end. The bodies of Laci Peterson and her unborn son, Connor, washed ashore on the San Francisco Bay, just a short distance from where Scott claimed to have been fishing. A few days later, Scott Peterson was arrested near a golf course in San Diego. He had changed his appearance and was carrying over $15,000 in cash. The grieving husband was now the prime suspect in a double murder. The trial of Scott Peterson was a media circus. The prosecution painted him as a cold-blooded killer who murdered his wife to escape the responsibilities of fatherhood. His affair with Frey was the motive. The defense argued that there was no forensic evidence, no murder weapon, and that the police had tunnel vision, focusing only on Scott. In 2004, after a 5-month trial, the jury reached a verdict. Scott Peterson was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Laci and the second-degree murder of their unborn son, Connor. He was sentenced to death, but the story doesn't end there. In 2020, Scott Peterson's death sentence was overturned due to issues with jury selection. He was resentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. And now, the Los Angeles Innocence Project has taken up his case, arguing that new evidence could prove his innocence. For Laci's family, the pain never goes away. They are left with the memory of a daughter and a grandson they never got to know. The case of Laci Peterson remains a haunting and tragic story, a reminder that behind a perfect smile, a dark and deadly secret can be hiding. To this day, questions remain, but one thing is certain. A young life full of promise was stolen, and a family was shattered forever.